والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه ومن والاه. Brothers in Islam, giving fatwa in Islam is a really serious issue. It's a big issue because the one who gives fatwa, the one who says this is haram and this is halal, this is prohibited and this is permitted by Allah Azza wa Jal, he is signing on behalf of Allah. He is signing on behalf of Allah Azza wa Jal. As Ibn al-Qayyim says, because this person, the mufti, the one who gives fatwa, is a translator and transmitter of what Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has meant in the sacred texts, as Imam al-Qarrafi says. Then this is really a big issue. This is really a risky job to give fatwa without evidence, without having pre-knowledge on what you are giving fatwa on. So that is why people in the Salaf, in the early Islamic centuries, they were not giving fatwa like what we are seeing and what we are hearing nowadays. When they were required to give a fatwa, when they were asked about something, these people, the color of their face was changing because of fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. How they can say something, how they can say this is haram, this is halal without evidence. How they can speak on behalf of Allah Azza wa Jal. That is why Abdurrahman ibn Abi Layla, he's one of the tabi'een, he says, I met 120 Sahabi, companions of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. All of them, when they were asked about something in Islam, giving fatwa, they all, like other people, other Sahabi, to respond, to give fatwa, not themselves, just to get rid of this big responsibility. And nowadays we see that everyone talks about religion. We see that in a place, someone asks a sheikh whether this is haram or halal. Another person, without having any knowledge, directly says this is haram, this is halal, before the sheikh responds. This is a really big issue now we are facing. Ahl Salaf, the people of Salaf, they will like some words which is la adri, I don't know. They use this word a lot. One day, a person came to Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, the grandson of Abi Bakr radiallahu anhu. He came to him and he was sitting around his students, hundreds of students around him. He was teaching them. And this person asked him a question. He said, what do you say about this matter? What is the opinion? What's your opinion? Or what's the rule of Allah in this matter? He says, I don't know. He says, I don't know. Immediately he said, I don't know. And the person, he was surprised. He said, how can you say I don't know while you are Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad, this great scholar in Islam? Look at the humbleness of this Imam, of Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad. He said, don't let my long beard to deceive you. To say that I have a long beard, that means I know everything. Don't be deceived by that. And don't let this big gathering around me, all the people, all the students around me, don't let this to deceive you, to say, oh, that means he knows everything, he should answer all the questions. He said, by Allah, I don't know your question. I don't know how to respond. I have no knowledge on this thing. He didn't say inside himself to say, oh, I have to respond to this question, otherwise my reputation will be destroyed. Because I am famous, how can I say, I don't know? What about the students? What should I say to students? The students will leave me and they say, how can we study with a sheikh? And then a sheikh who cannot respond a question about halal and haram. No, he taught them and he taught us a great lesson. This humbleness, not speaking about religion which without evidence. He taught them when they complete their studies and they become scholars, if people ask them about something, they should say, if they are not sure, they should say we don't know. Without giving a wrong fatwa to people. Brothers, wallahi, this is a big problem because Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says about those they give fatwa without evidence, and He says, and do not say what your tongues falsely describe. This is lawful and that is forbidden in order to invent lies against Allah. And those who invent a lie against Allah will not succeed. Because the one who gives fatwa without evidence, he is lying against Allah Azza wa Jal. So he should be careful. And nowadays we see everyone gives fatwa. Everyone talks about religion. Everyone gives himself permission to say this is haram and this is halal. And there are people, they cannot read just 2 verses of Quran properly. They give fatwa. They say this is haram and this is halal. There are people, they just say قال الله وقال رسول. Allah said that and the Prophet said that without knowing, without having knowledge on the science of Quran, the science of Hadith, the science of usul al-fiqh, the principles of jurisprudence, without having proper knowledge, proper Islamic knowledge. They give fatwa without knowledge. And this is wallahi strange. People, they respect all the fields of knowledge and science except the field of Islamic knowledge. Everyone gives fatwa. Everyone gives fatwa. And if you have a problem with your health, people say to you, go to see a specialist, a doctor. If your car is broken or has a problem, they say to you, go and see a mechanic, a specialist one in your car. If you have a problem with law, they say, go and ask a lawyer. But when it comes to religion, giving fatwa, no one cares. Everyone gives fatwa. Everyone say this is prohibited and this is permitted in Islam. And one of you may say that, but shuyukhs, they have different opinions. The scholars have different opinions. So I permit myself, I give permission to myself to say this is haram and this is halal. And directly look at the Quran and Sunnah, even if I don't have a prior knowledge, I say this is haram and this is halal. As long as I see a hadith, as long as I see an ayah, a verse from Quran. But wallahi, this does not give you permission to do this. Because sometimes you go, if you have a problem with your health, you see 2 doctors, for example. They give you different recommendations. They give you different prescriptions. They give you different medical treatments. And after that, you don't go out and say, oh, I lost my trust in the doctors. I will never go back to see doctors. Instead, I will directly go to the pharmacy and I will buy whatever I want to use it for myself without seeing a doctor. You don't do it. So do the same with ulama, with the different opinions between ulama, different opinions among ulama. Give them the right to have different opinions because it's about fatwa. It's about different situations, different contexts. That's why they have different opinions. Wallahi, brothers, wrong fatwas destroys our life. How many families have been destroyed because of wrong fatwas? How much blood has been shed because of strict fatwas? This is kufr. This person should be killed. This person should be... they should do like that and that. Without knowledge. How many people have committed haram just because of easy fatwas nowadays? How many people, they hate religion. They are leaving religion, Islam, just because of funny fatwas. We have funny fatwas nowadays. So brothers, wallahi, this is a big issue that we should be careful If you have a knowledge, if you really studied Islam, if you have a license to speak to people, if you have qualifications, if you know the Islamic knowledge, that's okay. Give fatwas, explain to people the rules of Allah Azza wa Jal. But if you don't have this right to speak to people about Islam, to give fatwa, it's not a duty upon you to do this. It's the duty of the scholars to do this. It's not upon you to explain to people what's haram and what's halal. Because if you do this in the day of judgment, you stand before Allah and Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala may say to you, why you said this is haram? And well, I didn't say this is haram. Why you said this is haram? Well, I didn't say this is halal. So to protect ourselves from being in such situations, we should be careful about that. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات اللهم ارحم موتانا واشف مرضانا وسلم أحياءنا وآمن روعاتنا اللهم أبعدنا عن البلاء والوباء وهذه الأمراض المنتشرة بين الناس الآن اللهم أبعدنا عن هذا الفيروس الذي هو منتشر بين الناس اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر المسلمين المستضعفين في كل مكان اللهم انصر المسلمين المستضعفين في فلسطين في سوريا في العراق في إيران في لبنان في كل البلاد الإسلامية ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون ولذكر الله أكبر.